This video is going to be on Chapter 6.1, Multiple Workbooks Practice File. And how this is different from all the others is instead of having one workbook with several sheets, it's going to be several entirely separate workbooks. And that would be if you have different people in different divisions and different states sending you information, and you're going to consolidate all that information. So what you want to do is download the files from the Dropbox, then open all the files from the downloads directory. So I'm going to open and go to browse and then click on downloads. Usually you're going to have a lot more files here, especially if you're doing this at home. Usually they're in order by name. Actually, first do this. The third button from the right is more options. Go to details. This gives you a lot more information and it's easier to separate things out. So details gives you the file name, the date, last modified, file type, and size. So if I want to see the most recent files I downloaded, I'd click on date modified, and then it would put the 4 most recent files I had downloaded at the top instead of having to look through and find them alphabetically. So I want to open these 4 workbooks. Click on the first one, shift click on the last one, click on open. Opens all 4 files, and then if I look down here on the status bar, I can see I have Book 1 Excel, which was my blank workbook. I'm going to close that. And then I have Connecticut, Massachusetts, Southern New England, and Rhode Island. Okay, so what I want to do, and in the directions it says I'm going to copy information from Connecticut to Southern New England. It really doesn't matter which workbook I copy it from because they all have the same information in the same place. But I'm going to click on Southern New England, so you can see I have no data in columns B through F. And what I want to do is copy the data, which is the wholesale price, liter cost, retail price, and income per tour from one of the other workbooks. So I'm going to go to Connecticut, and again, they all have the same information in the same place. Do not copy tours sold because this is what you're going to do math on. So what you want to do is select C5 to F10, which is the consistent data between all the workbooks. Copy, go to Southern New England, click on C5, and then paste. So column C is the wholesale price per item. D is a formula, E is a formula, F is a formula. F is 0 because it's going to multiply B times E, and there's nothing in B yet. So the only file you're going to upload is this Chapter 6.1 Southern New England, so this is the only file I need you to save. Next thing I want you to do is to go to the Sheet tab and to rename the Sheet tab to be whatever is in cell A2. So it'll be Southern New England, Massachusetts, Connecticut, or Rhode Island. And the reason I'm having you do that is when you do the formula, it'll be easier to tell what the formula is actually saying. Now we're going to do the math between the different workbooks. So what you want to do is select Southern New England out of all the workbooks, so that is going to be your active workbook, and then go to the View tab and do Arrange All, and you can do tiled, horizontal, vertical, or cascade. I'll do one of each, and what it does is it takes all the open workbooks and displays them all at the same time. So you want to make sure you have what you need open, don't have anything else open, and then you can see all the workbooks at the same time. So if I do tiled and hit OK, then I see all 4 workbooks in tiled mode, and I have New England. Since I had New England selected, that's the one that shows up on the top. Now I'm going to go to View and Arrange All and choose Horizontal and hit OK. Displays them all horizontal. Now I lost all my toolbars, so what I need to do is click Maximize for this one just so I can see it, and then do Arrange All again, do vertical, hit OK. Takes all your open workbooks, displayed it in vertical order. I think I like this one the best, so I think this is the one I'll go to. But you can also do, this is under the window group, Arrange All, and Cascade. And what Cascade does is it puts it in this order, so it's like a stack of cards cascaded. So I'm going to do Arrange All, and I'm going to do vertical. None of these is better than the others. They're just different ways of displaying it. You find the one that works best for you. Hit OK. So since Southern New England was selected, Southern New England becomes the first one, and this is the workbook I'm going to do math on, so I want this first. Whichever one you select when you do the Arrange All, that's the one that's going to be first when it shows up. So that's kind of important. So now what I want to do, and I can see down here there's Southern, part of it anyway, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, plus I can always also see it in row 2. So what I want to do is add up tours sold from Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut. Doesn't matter what order these are in. So what you do is you click on the workbook, and click on the cell where the answer is going to be. Start your formula with equals, and then click on the next workbook, and you have to click on the cell twice, sometimes more than twice. And what it does is it picks up the workbook name, and I'll show you later, it shows you right here, and the cell address. And then plus, click on the next workbook, and the cell address, plus, next workbook, and cell address. And when it actually selects it, that's when you get the little neon sign thing going on. And then you hit enter. Now if I go back to Southern New England, and I maximize this one, then I can see in my formula bar, here's my formula. So it's equals, quote, bracket, workbook name, chapter 6.1, practice exercise Rhode Island. The workbook name is in brackets. And then the sheet name, that's why I had you change the sheet name first, Rhode Island, spelled out. The workbook name and sheet name is in quotes, exclamation point. That separates your cell address from your sheet name. We did this in the previous chapter. Plus, workbook name Massachusetts, sheet name Massachusetts, cell address B5, plus workbook name Connecticut, sheet name Connecticut, cell address B5. Notice all your cell addresses are absolute. Don't change that. That's industry standard. When they're doing multiple workbooks, they just automatically make everything absolute. I don't want you to change it because I want you to do what is industry standard, because I want you to be used to what is industry standard. If your formula is bigger than this, what you can do is on the right side of your formula bar, you click on the little down arrow, and then you can see your whole formula. So if you have a larger formula, you can still see it. And then if it gets really huge, you will get a scroll bar on top of that. I'm going to click on the little up arrow because I can see the whole formula. Then to do the next formula, I click on the next cell. I'm going to go back to Arrange All, still vertical. Click on the cell where the answer is going to be. Formula starts with an equals. Click on Bike Tour for Connecticut, plus Bike Tour for Massachusetts, plus Bike Tour for Rhode Island. Hit enter. If I maximize it, I can see the entire formula. So it's workbook name, sheet name, address B6, workbook name, sheet name, address B6, workbook name, sheet name, address B6. Again, don't assume because you got an answer it's correct. Always double check your formulas in your formula bar. So what you want to do is create a formula for each one of these items. Okay, now I have a formula for each item in tours sold in Southern New England. And I haven't actually done anything to the other workbooks except change the sheet name. So I'm going to maximize Southern New England because that's the one that has all the formulas. There's my formula for hiking tour, biking tour, kayak tour, etc. And then when I got the values in, it automatically updated column F because column F was B times Z. Now what I want to do is save this one again. Then you do want to save and close all the workbooks. Okay, now I've saved all the files, closed all the files. I opened Connecticut and changed tours sold from 9 to be 99 just for the sake of showing you what happens. If I save this, there's two different ways I can open my summary file. So I'm going to save this, close this. Now I'm going to open my summary file, which is Southern New England with all my formulas in it. And then I get this message. And it's not really an error message, but what this means is one of the files I'm linked to has changed. And if I say update, what it'll do is it'll go out to the file that's changed, pick up that data, and throw it into this workbook. If I say don't update, it won't go out to the file that's changed, and will use the original data. So the good and the bad about this is, if I say update, I'm going to get whatever is most recent on everyone else's files. And if they're messing around and thinking about what they're going to do next year, I could be picking up data I don't really want. If I say don't update, then I won't be picking up the latest and greatest. So it's really best if one person is in charge of all the separate workbooks, because if you're not, then if anything happens in the other workbooks and you update, you might be picking up things you don't expect. So what you need to do is upload this file, the chapter 6.1 practice exercise, Southern New England, very long name, last name, because this is going to have all the information I need. And that will include your file name and the sheet name and the address. And that's actually what I'm looking for. Thanks.